told today is Military Consumer Protection Day, so it's fitting that you should be here. And I think one of the, I'll speak personally, one of the prouder achievements in the Dodd-Frank Act was the Office of Servicemen Affairs, Member Affairs, which is in your organization led by Holly Petraeus. So thank you for all you're doing to help protect our servicemen and women. The basic legal protection for these young Americans is the Service Members Civil Relief Act. Goes back to the Civil War. Enforcement is scattered about. The Department of Justice has civil authority, civil actions. Banking regulators can go in and correct, but the enforcement is really lax. And I think you pointed it out last week when you did a report which indicated that service members continue to report difficulty obtaining their Service Members Civil Relief Act protection of 6% on loans. The law, going back a long time ago, is that if you have prior existing debt and you enter the armed services, it's capped at 6%, and they're not getting that, particularly student loans. That was the focus of the report.
Yep.
And I put legislation in to give authority for enforcement to CFPB, just as background. Now, if Congress were to enact this legislation, how would the CFPB be equipped to better protect service members from financial harm?
I just think it stands to reason, Senator, if there's more cops on the beat to protect our troops in terms of potential abuses or problems and financial products and services, which for them are just a distraction from their ability to focus on their job, which is defending and protecting all of us, that would be a helpful thing. I note that the Congress a couple years ago, and I think it was under your urging, did provide enforcement authority to the Consumer Bureau under the Military Lending Act. I thought that was a positive step forward. What we do is we work with partners, particularly the Department of Justice has been active in this area. But again, they only have so many resources. We only have so many resources. If there's ever an area where we should be training and focusing our resources on the problem, it's making sure that our service members are treated appropriately and fairly in the financial marketplace so they don't have to worry about those problems.
Thank you very much. And you made reference to the Military Lending Act. That was passed in for the fiscal year 2007 National Defense Act. And it gives you authority, but it puts the burden on the Department of Defense to create the framework, the rules and regulations. And they are trying to do that again. They had a series of regulations that were well-intentioned but didn't really fully address some of the problems that face servicemen and women. Can you briefly explain how these members remain vulnerable today in anticipation, we hope, of rules that will be forthcoming?
Yeah, and I particularly appreciate you have had a very constant and sharp focus on these issues and have seen to it that progress moves along in this area. And I think we're very close to having a new set of Military Lending Act rules. And I commend the Department of Defense for the speed with which they've recognized the importance of working on this problem. The difficulty is that the Military Lending Act, as you say, passed in 2007. There was originally a set of rules meant to implement it, but they were too narrow and they were too easily circumvented. This is very much the problem that Senator Brown pointed out earlier of people being able to swim around some of the otherwise well-intentioned rules, and you still can see website after website of online lenders offering loans to service members at triple-digit percentages, and some of them 400, 500, 600%. And they are gallingly perfectly legal under the current set of rules, which is why Congress, as I understand it, has directed that this be redone. The Department of Defense has taken that very seriously and, again, acted with great speed in addressing it, and I believe that very shortly we're going to have a new set of rules and service members will have new important protections that they probably should have had several years ago.
Well, thank you very much. Again, we are all rightfully appreciative of the service that these men and women render the country, and we say that repeatedly, but if their rights can't be adequately protected, then the rhetoric is nice, but it's better to have the access to the rules and protections. So I thank you for that.
And I saw in preparing for testimony today that a number of members of this committee can speak to this personally from their own experience of service. So I think it's quite important.
Thank you very much.